The night Jennifer was born, thunder crackled across the Lagos sky as if the heavens themselves knew something extraordinary was about to enter the world. At Lagos University Teaching Hospital, Dr. Adebayo had delivered hundreds of babies throughout his career, but none quite like this one. As he lifted the newborn girl, her eyes snapped open, not with the usual unfocused gaze of a newborn, but with an intense, piercing stare. What happened next would change the lives of everyone in that delivery room forever. Flames erupted from the infant's eyes, shooting across the room like twin blowtorches. Dr. Adebayo dropped to the floor, his white coat singed, while nurses scattered in panic. Only Femi, the exhausted mother, seemed unaffected by the supernatural display. When she reached for her daughter, the flames immediately subsided, leaving behind a perfectly normal-looking baby with warm brown eyes. "What kind of child did you bring into this world, Mrs. Adeyemi?" Dr. Adebayo whispered, nursing his burned hands. But Femi just held her daughter closer, tears streaming down her face. She named her Jennifer, a name meaning white wave, hoping it would somehow balance the fire that burned within her child. News of the incident spread through the hospital like wildfire, but few believed it. Those who witnessed it firsthand were quickly transferred to other departments or chose to leave, their resignation letters carefully omitting any mention of flames shooting from a newborn's eyes. The hospital administration buried the incident in paperwork and protocol, and soon it became nothing more than a whispered legend among the night shift nurses. Growing up in their modest home in Surulere, Lagos, Jennifer's early years were marked by isolation and careful management of her unusual gift. Her father, Michael Adeyemi, a successful banker, worked extra hours to ensure they could afford a private compound with high walls and tinted windows. Femi quit her job as a secondary school teacher to homeschool Jennifer, dedicating herself entirely to protecting both her daughter and the outside world. The only time Jennifer felt truly normal was in the presence of her parents. Something about their love and acceptance seemed to neutralize her fiery gaze. She could look directly into their eyes without fear, and they could look back at her with all the love in the world. But with anyone else, housekeepers, delivery people, even her own extended family, the slightest eye contact could result in disaster. By age 5, Jennifer had developed her own coping mechanisms. She learned to keep her eyes downcast, to wear sunglasses indoors, to avoid mirrors and reflective surfaces. But she couldn't avoid the questions that burned in her heart. Why was she different? What had she done to deserve this curse? Would she ever be able to live a normal life? Her mother tried to fill Jennifer's days with learning and love, turning their home into both a school and a sanctuary. The walls of Jennifer's room were covered with educational posters and creative projects. Femi taught her daughter everything from mathematics to literature, and Jennifer proved to be an exceptional student. Her mind was as bright as the flames in her eyes, absorbing knowledge with an almost supernatural hunger. But no amount of academic success could fill the void of loneliness that grew within Jennifer as she watched other children her age playing in the streets through her window. She would sit for hours in her room, reading books about normal teenagers having normal adventures, dreaming of a life where she could walk down the street without fear of hurting someone. When Jennifer turned 17, the question of university became unavoidable. She had already completed her secondary school education at home, achieving exceptional results in her WAEC examinations. Her father argued that she could continue her education online, but Femi saw how the isolation was affecting her daughter. After many sleepless nights and heated discussions, they decided to seek help from an unexpected source. Baba Ogundimu was known throughout Lagos as a powerful native doctor, though he preferred the term spiritual consultant. His compound in the outskirts of the city was a curious blend of traditional and modern. Ancient totems stood alongside satellite dishes, and his consultation room featured both ceremonial masks and a laptop computer. When the Adeyemis arrived at his compound, Baba Ogundimu was already waiting for them. "I have been expecting you," he said, his voice deep and resonant. "The spirits have shown me the fire in your daughter's eyes." For the first time in her life, Jennifer met someone outside her family who could look directly into her eyes without being harmed. The old man studied her with a penetrating gaze, nodding slowly as if confirming something he already knew. "Your gift is not a curse," he declared after a long silence. "It is a protection, passed down through generations of powerful women in your ancestral line. But it was meant to manifest differently in each bearer. Something has intensified it in you." He performed a series of divinations, casting cowrie shells and consulting with the spirits. Finally, he revealed the nature of Jennifer's condition. "The fire in your eyes is tied to your heart. It burns so fiercely because it seeks to protect you from those who might harm you. Only when you find true love, a love as pure and powerful as that of your parents, will the flames subside." But Baba Ogundimu didn't stop there. From her ancient chest, he produced a pair of specially crafted eyeglasses. The lenses were dark as night, but seemed to shimmer with an inner light. "These glasses have been waiting for you," he explained. "They were created centuries ago for another woman with a similar gift. They will contain your power and allow you to live among others safely." The glasses worked perfectly, though they came with their own challenges. They couldn't be removed in public, and their unusual appearance, completely black, with intricate symbols etched into the frames, drew attention. But for Jennifer, they represented freedom. With them, she could finally pursue her dream of attending university. The University of Lagos accepted her with a scholarship, impressed by her exceptional academic records. Her parents rented a small apartment near campus, close enough for regular visits, but far enough to give Jennifer the independence she craved. For the first time in her life, she would be living in the world instead of watching it from behind walls. The transition to university life was both exhilarating and terrifying. Jennifer's intelligence quickly made her stand out in her classes, but her mysterious eyewear made her a target for gossip and speculation. Some students whispered that she was blind, others claimed she had a rare eye disease, and a few even suggested she was hiding her identity as a celebrity's child. Darby Johnson, a fellow student in Jennifer's department, took particular interest in her mysterious classmate. Darby was the kind of person who had never worked for anything in her life. Her father's wealth and connections had always paved her way. Jennifer's academic success and the attention she received from professors threatened Darby's self-image as the department's star. "Hey, blind bat," Darby would call out whenever she saw Jennifer. "What's wrong? Afraid to show your eyes to the world?" Her taunts were always delivered with a smile, making it hard for Jennifer to complain to university authorities. Darby gathered a group of followers who made it their mission to discover what Jennifer was hiding behind her dark glasses. Despite the bullying, Jennifer found joy in her studies. She excelled in her courses, particularly in Nigerian literature and creative writing. Her professors praised her unique perspectives and deep understanding of cultural themes. A few fellow students, impressed by her intelligence and undeterred by her unusual appearance, became friendly acquaintances, though Jennifer was careful to keep them at arm's length. Then came Matthew. Tall, charming, and seemingly kind, he approached Jennifer one day in the library. "I've noticed how Darby and her friends treat you," he said. "It's not right. Not everyone here is like them." Jennifer, touched by his apparent sincerity, allowed herself to hope for real friendship. Over the next few weeks, Matthew became a constant presence in Jennifer's life. He carried her books, defended her from Darby's taunts, and spent hours talking with her about everything from Nigerian politics to their favorite Nollywood movies. Jennifer felt herself falling for him, wondering if perhaps this could be the true love Baba Ogundimu had spoken of. What Jennifer didn't know was that Matthew's kindness was an act, bought and paid for by Darby. The plan was simple: gain Jennifer's trust, then remove her glasses in public, exposing whatever secret she was hiding. Darby had promised Matthew a substantial sum of money and her father's connections to help him secure a job after graduation. The betrayal came on a quiet afternoon in the university's botanical garden. Jennifer, exhausted from studying for midterm examinations, had dozed off on a bench while reading. Matthew, seeing his opportunity, carefully reached for her glasses. The moment he removed them, Jennifer's eyes fluttered open reflexively. The flames that erupted were more intense than anything Jennifer had experienced since childhood. Matthew's screams echoed through the garden as the fire seared his face and hands. Jennifer, horrified, quickly retrieved her glasses and fled the scene, leaving Matthew writhing on the ground. The incident caused an uproar on campus. Matthew was rushed to the hospital with second-degree burns, and the university launched an investigation. But with no witnesses and no logical explanation for how the injuries occurred, they eventually ruled it an accident involving chemical fertilizers in the garden. Matthew, too ashamed to admit his role in Darby's scheme, dropped out of university and transferred to another school. Jennifer fell into a deep depression after the incident. She had allowed herself to hope for connection, for normalcy, and had been betrayed. Her parents suggested she take a break from university, but Jennifer refused. She wouldn't let Darby or Matthew or anyone else drive her away from her dreams. It was during this dark period that David entered her life. A transfer student from the University of Ibadan, David was assigned as Jennifer's partner for a group project in their advanced Nigerian literature class. From their first meeting, something felt different about him. David treated Jennifer's glasses as unremarkable, never asking about them or making her feel self-conscious. He was brilliant but humble, passionate about literature and social justice. Most importantly, he saw Jennifer for who she was, not as a curiosity or a challenge, but as a person worthy of respect and understanding. Their project meetings turned into study sessions, which evolved into long conversations about life, dreams, and the shared love of Nigerian folklore. David shared stories of his own struggles, growing up with a stutter that made others mock him, learning to embrace his differences rather than hide them. Gradually, Jennifer felt herself falling in love, not with the idea of love or the hope of breaking her curse, but with David himself. He made her laugh, challenged her thinking, and showed her that being different didn't mean being alone. One evening, as they sat watching the sunset from a campus rooftop, David turned to Jennifer and said, "I know there's something special about you. I've known since the day we met. Whatever it is, whatever you're hiding behind those glasses, it doesn't change how I feel about you." Jennifer's heart raced. No one outside her family had ever accepted her so completely without knowing her secret. In that moment, she made a decision that would change her life forever. With trembling hands, she removed her glasses. David looked directly into her eyes, and for the first time in Jennifer's life, there were no flames. Her eyes remained normal, warm brown orbs that reflected only love and relief. Baba Ogundimu's prophecy had come true. She had found a love pure enough to quench the fire within her. The news of Jennifer's miraculous recovery from her supposed eye condition spread through campus. Darby, frustrated that her schemes had failed to unmask Jennifer's secret, eventually transferred to another university. Matthew's story became a cautionary tale about the consequences of betrayal. Jennifer and David married after graduation in a beautiful ceremony that combined traditional Nigerian customs with modern elements. Baba Ogundimu attended as a special guest, blessing their union and revealing to Jennifer that her gift hadn't disappeared. It had transformed. The fire in her eyes now burned only to protect those she loved, manifesting as an inner strength rather than physical flames. Years later, Jennifer became a celebrated author, writing stories that wove together elements of Nigerian folklore with themes of acceptance, love, and the power of being different. She never publicly revealed the truth about her supernatural gift, but she used her experiences to create characters that resonated with anyone who had ever felt like an outsider. David supported her every step of the way, their love growing stronger with each passing year. They had 3 children, and though none of them inherited their mother's fiery gaze, they all possessed their own unique gifts that made them special. Jennifer's story became a whispered legend at the University of Lagos, the tale of the girl with the mysterious glasses who found love strong enough to change her destiny. Some dismissed it as just another campus myth, while others swore they could sometimes see a strange gleam in the eyes of her daughter when she visited the campus years later. But for Jennifer, The most important part of her story wasn't the supernatural element or even the romance, it was the journey to self-acceptance. She learned that what made her different wasn't a curse to be cured, but a part of who she was, something that made her uniquely capable of understanding and helping others who felt different or isolated. Her mother Femi, who had sacrificed so much to protect and nurture her daughter, lived to see Jennifer become not just normal, but extraordinary in her own right. The fire that had once threatened to isolate Jennifer forever became instead a light that guided others, showing them that even the most challenging differences could become sources of strength and beauty. As Jennifer often told her children, sometimes what we think is a curse is actually a gift waiting to be understood. The fire in my eyes taught me that love, true, accepting, unconditional love, has the power to transform not just how others see us, but how we see ourselves. Answer: the legend of the girl with fire in her eyes lives on, a reminder that sometimes the very thing that makes us different is also what makes us special, and that true love has the power to help us embrace every part of who we are, even the parts that seem impossible to accept.